Good afternoon. Welcome back to United TV. This time, I know we often do transfer news. We're going to be talking about the United stand being bought by Gary Neville and the overlap. I think the question I've got really is we saw that this morning. I think a lot of people will probably watch the video from Mark talking about this himself and saying the channel is changing forever. My question is going to be that there was always a bit of a disconnect between football fan channels, Manchester United, the mainstream media. I think those lines have been blurring a little bit recently and I think what we're seeing is money coming in. The question I've got really, I suppose, is how football changed when people started seeing it as a way of making money. Is football fan content creation going to change with this sort of move happening? That clearly, if you're investing seven figures, we don't know the exact amount of money, but there's a lot of money being spent by Gary Neville, a lot of money being spent here, and they're going to want to obviously make a lot of money back. Where's that money going to come from? The only question I've got is I'm not going to say anything negative about any channel because everybody's got different views, opinions, which is great because people can put their own opinion out there. Is that are they going to want to recoup this money by means which make things that are they going to put some sort of payment barrier towards certain things? Are things going to be behind a paywall? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Things are going to change, and I think when you have a fan channel or we're quite independent, so I can sit here and say whatever I want within reason. Obviously, about different players, about the Glazers, I want them gone. Ineos, you can have different views and opinions when you got Gary Neville involved and you got people involved. Gary Neville's working for Sky Sports. He can't be on Sky Sports insulting Manchester United's owners. There has to be some things that might be off the table. I'm just saying that things will change, but no one knows exactly what the change is going to be. So I don't know. It's one of these things where we're probably not going to find out until it actually happens. And Cody sent me this video earlier today. This is from the football terrace. This is Terry Flewis, and I think this is quite interesting because he still is what he was a collaborator with the United Stand, a regular guest host, and I watched some of this video. And for someone that's probably quite close to Mark in terms of he's working with him, I think Mark Goldbridge is going on the football terrace, Terry Flewis is going on the United Stand. Then Terry Flewis doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know if he's still going to be part of the United Stand. There's no ill feeling. There's no controversy. There's no big issues here. I think what is the main issue is that nobody actually knows what the deal is. And my first thoughts were, if you acquire the United Stand, you're buying a big community, you're buying a big platform, but also the strength for the United Stand is probably Mark Goldbridge himself in terms of being the lead presenter and the face of the channel. And Mark Goldbridge also, now he's going to be given an opportunity to collaborate. Maybe there's more options to. I don't know how he's going to benefit from it as much as other people are, but it's one where I think there's a lot of things up in the air. No one knows for sure, and I thought it'd be interesting to see what people think because at the moment it's really I think there was like a disconnect. I would say this that I'll go through some comments and see what people are thinking. But for people that want to know the main story, I did mention this quickly as a short earlier on and on TikTok. But this is essentially what we're talking about today. Is that I suppose that media empire is probably an accurate description. It's a seven-figure deal. It's a huge money. And what does this mean though? So let's have a look at some of the comments and see what people are thinking. And Rob says, Mark said he's not bothered about the money, but I think he is. I like the way the channel the way it was. I think it'll turn into a commercial giant. I think it will become diluted. I saw something actually. I did watch a little bit of the United Stand this morning to see what people were posting in the comments. And I think one of the things that was interesting was one of the comments I saw was, does this mean you can get more professional presenters? And I saw that as I mean, they've got. I think with United Stand, most people that watch it, you've got familiar faces. You watch United Stand because you want to watch Mark Goldbridge. You also get Beth. You also get another couple of presenters as well that are regularly on. And for whatever your reasons are regarding the opinions, you watch. I think most people watch United Stand for Mark Goldbridge. If the United Stand becomes a program where Mark Goldbridge only does 20% of the shows, and I think that's what Rob's saying in the comments, that if you have Mark Goldbridge only doing like say 10 to 20% of the shows, is it going to be one of those programs where you just feels like you get a guest presenter every single day, which for some people might be absolutely fine, but I think for a lot of people, and to be honest, I don't think the United Stand is going to lose any popularity, but maybe you get different people. People that watch it for Mark Goldbridge will probably just keep watching the shows that Mark Goldbridge presents. The people that watch it for other reasons will probably still keep watching it. And people that maybe aren't so keen on Mark Goldbridge might watch other might watch a bit more. So it's a bit of a difficult one. I think if Gary Neville was presenting it, I don't know if it would be quite so popular. But to be honest, at the moment, I think it would be very risky for anyone like say Gary Neville or other people. If you start replacing all the presenters with other people, I don't know. I don't know. Virtue Helgi, still got your hair, I'm assuming. It says, I get why people say it, but I really doubt Goldbridge will stop calling out the club. I think it's expansion, not change. I mean, I did say this comment to someone this morning that if you're looking at it, then Mark Goldbridge has got a platform where he can say what he likes. He's not going to want to give that up. And I think they would be very unwise to suddenly move in a completely different direction. And so, yeah, it's difficult to predict, isn't it? Ian's taking the view of this again. I have got it in the comments where I've got a poll running where it says, "Is this good or bad for Manchester United fans?" Because if you're a Manchester United fan that didn't watch Mark Goldbridge, I guess then you don't really care. But I know from running and doing YouTube for a few years on my other channel as well, I do know that when you look at what your viewers watch, most Man United fans will watch the United Stand at least a little bit. There'll be a lot of people watching other channels that maybe started on the United Stand will also be pretty popular, and these are probably the big channels in terms of the Manchester United fan community. And you probably say it probably was the biggest fan channel, or apart from I suppose the second and third are probably the Football Terrace and AFTV, but I would say the United Stand was probably one of the biggest, or probably was the biggest, wasn't it? And then that's football is probably the second biggest. But Ian's saying that Mark is completely sold out. So I would guess with this one, Mark, um, when you're looking at it, Gary Neville can't say certain things, can he? And I think with Gary, this is the point I was trying to make on the short I put out this morning. Gary Neville works for Sky. I mean, I don't know how much money he gets paid by Sky, but I'm sure it's a little bit more than you'd get on YouTube. So Gary Neville has this lucrative position where he does get paid a lot of money to essentially watch Man United and moan about the club. So he already has that for him. Would Sky take a dim view? And I suppose with uh, Sky has to be a bit impartial, so you can't have people on there going all out attacking the owners in the way that we could. So we could have a now, if somebody asked me about the Glazers, I will say my view that the Glazers are the worst thing that have happened in football, let alone Manchester United. As soon as someone comes in and uses the club to make money and takes money out of football, it's horrendous for football. And other clubs are lucky they don't have owners like the Glazers. And I think if Gary Neville has quite often been described as being sympathetic or just neutral because he must see the damage that's happened, but he doesn't say anything. And I think that's one of the things that people get frustrated about. So I think someone said a comment which did kind of like reiterate some of those comments. So Wizard Better says a good point is that it will raise a question about whether the United stand can retain its integrity. And so I think some fans will leave, some new fans will arrive, and I think this is kind of what I was saying, say a few minutes ago. I think it will just change the landscape a little bit of people that watch the channel. It might be that it becomes a little bit more into the mainstream, but it might be that I know a lot of people that watch football fan content. People watch it for different reasons. I think a lot of people quite like a small community. That it is that if you watch a channel that's quite small and you're kind of like you get your voice heard and you are part of a community and you can grow that community, and then it feels a bit like someone's come in. It's a little bit like having a nice compute, like nice software or having some nice IP, and then Microsoft comes in, buys it, takes it away, and then just like parks it because it's just a competitor. So I think it's a bit disappointing for some fans because they'll have kind of liked what the United Stand was to start with. But I agree with it with this point. You might just be seeing a different audience moving there. It is that I think to be honest, a lot of it will be you have to see what happens. I know it's going to change, but I'm imagining that whatever's happened, one of the things that Terry said. So just to go back to this graphic, one of the things that Terry was saying in his video, which is true. I mean, Terry has worked in this industry for about a decade as well, is that when you're looking at trying to acquire something like the overlap taking over the United stand, and that's football. This would have been discussed. I'm guessing this is going to go back like probably at least last year, if not last summer or before. It's going to be months and months of negotiations. And I think the last thing that Gary Neville would want is to acquire the channel, spend a huge amount of money, and then have the channel slump and have Mark Goldbridge go and set up a new channel. Because Mark Goldbridge is like kind of part of the IP. He is part of why they're buying the channel because it's that's the reason why a lot of people watch. If you watch the United Stand and Mark Goldbridge isn't presenting, the numbers are massively reduced. He is a big important, he is a big factor of why people watch that channel. So and also with Mark Goldbridge going more into the mainstream, it's going to get open up potential like better collaborations, potential other guests and presenters and things. But I think it's kind of like a tipping point, isn't it, where it could work out really well. I think either way, Mark Goldbridge has got the money. I'm guessing that with this, Mark Goldbridge will have to. But when you see any sort of takeover or any sort of buyout in other industries, sometimes it's quite interesting to see what happens at the highest level. Like who's retaining the creative control, who's going to be making all the decisions. Is there going to be things that it is quite difficult because for Mark, I think as well, that you go from a situation where you effectively get to make all the calls. You get to decide what you're talking about, what your views are. I'm doing a stream today. I'm deciding to talk about this, but I could have talked about Michael Carrick. I could have talked about other transfer news. And I think Mark is going to have to go from a situation where he has creative control. He's in charge to actually maybe there's things he doesn't want to discuss, or maybe there's things that he doesn't know. He's got his opinions. He's not going to agree with everybody. It's yeah, I think it's going to be quite an interesting one. And how he's saying anyone who knows him says he would never sell away his voice. So he's literally the thing is that the things that Mark Goldbridge has said, they're literally out there, aren't they? So people are looking at uh, what's happening at the moment. Mark Goldbridge he said things about Gary Neville in the past. I think Gary Neville actually there's tweets where Gary Neville was directly asked by fans and people on social media about getting Mark Goldbridge onto the overlap, and I think he just said it would never happen. This is probably going back a couple of years, but the things that Goldbridge has said, they're out there, aren't they? They're in the public domain of what he said about it. So everybody knows his views, and everybody knows a lot of people's opinions on Gary Neville. I just think it's I don't know at the moment, considering that it's kind of with United Stand, people have one view or another. It's usually an extreme view. Either people like it or they really can't stand it. And I think with Gary Neville, he's probably one of the least popular people in terms of ex-Manchester United players. I know none of them are actually doing particularly. None of them are getting a lot of positivity from Man United fans. But I think it is that I think Gary Neville kind of gets that is probably one of the lower lower points. Let's have a. I'll go for a few of the comments as well and see what people are thinking. I've not really. I'll say this like with all honesty. I've never really watched the overlap. I've seen little clips of it. It says the overlap is so scripted and shy at Sky Sports, and said finally there's some fan content on the mainstream. That yeah, the concern is like, do you think they would then try and make it like that sort of thing? Do you think they would change it in terms of having it a bit more? I'm not saying scripted necessarily, but I don't know. I do worry that they're going to get some kind of neutral, boring presenters that don't want to say anything too controversial. Jules is saying also, United, should I die? Good to see you. Hope you're good today. Let me know what you think as well. So I'll try and go for as many comments as possible. Jill says, I wonder what Stretford Paddock will have to say. I suppose actually the Stretford Paddock are one where I'm just trying to think because they go back a long way as well. I don't think there's links to the United Stand. They're one of the few. They're probably one of the few big channels that were a different channel when they started with different people involved, and they grew up. They built up at the same sort of time, but with different people. I don't obviously. I think with the Stretford Paddock, I think in the past they've said pretty much no pretty negative things. That obviously they're big rivals, so they're not going to say anything too positive. But I don't know. They'll probably put something out. I'm guessing. Maybe they won't want to be. Maybe they won't want to promote it too much. I don't know. It's it's it'll be interesting to see what they have to say because at the moment the football terrorists. We know that there's a lot of collaborations between Mark and Terry, so he's not going to say anything negative. Also, I don't think he's the sort of person that tries to create tension between himself and other channels as well. So I don't see anything happening there. But no, the Stretford Paddock haven't really held back on things they've said about him in the past, so it's possible. So the overlap. I guess I'm not missing much on the overlap then, but honestly, I haven't watched it, so I couldn't really say. I think it's because the overlap. It's I'm trying to think. Is that the one that's got Jamie Carragher on it? Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville. If it is, then there's probably a reason why I don't watch it. It's probably because of him. Welcome Neil says I don't watch United Stand for a long time, which say Stretford Paddock are all journalists pretending to be fans, says Scott. Yeah, I would say the Stretford Paddock, there's a range of people on there. And for me, as someone that just watches a bit of, no, watches a little bit of channels because of, just trying to find out some news, I think with the Stretford Paddock, it's very, very different depending on who's actually on it. There's a couple of people on there I quite like, and there's one or two that yeah, they're clearly, yeah, they're in a different category, put it that way. I won't say too much, but I think there's definitely a mix. There's a lot of people on there. Some I quite like, some I'm not quite so keen on. I say when they let those presenters go on the full-time Devils, they ruined the channel and they rebranded, and it's pretty mundane. I suppose I don't know who actually started off the channel, so I couldn't really say. But no, I think with this one that again it's a different channel. I think it's maybe it's got too many people on it. I think some of them are quite good, but I take your point as well. Sometimes it feels like they go through the motions and they're just been like forced to stand out there and just talk about something they don't really care about. But yeah, no, this is kind of the thing, isn't it? That if you then kind of force like other people to keep doing the same things they don't enjoy, maybe you're going to see a difficult situation. I think that's what people are worried about. When I saw the comments and I saw the live comments this morning on Mark's stream, there was a few people saying it might be good to get more professional presenters in, and I thought that's probably the last thing that the channel would want. That not to say that it's good to have people need to be professional when they're doing this, but I think in terms of professionalism, then they have been professional. They're there. I think when people say professional, they probably mean people that are on Sky News as maybe, to be honest, a bit more boring presenters, and it might be disappointing for some people. So yeah, good point from Rob as well. Says Mark has been. I mean, I haven't watched him as much as you have, Rob. So it's interesting to see what your views are. So Mark has been putting Neville down for years. He was always doing impressions of him. Now with this announcement, we can see the worm has turned. I suppose what might be interesting is I can't remember what the situation was regarding. Do you remember when there was interviews with Jim Radcliffe and Gary Neville? I can't remember. I remember talking about it myself. I cannot remember what Mark's view on that was, and that's going back probably about maybe 9 months, I'm guessing, or maybe yeah, it probably was sometime last summer when there was comments, or just after the summer, there was comments from Jim Radcliffe in an interview with Ineos. So yeah, it might be interesting to see, look back on those and see what he said. And Ollie says, I can't believe a former captain, lifelong red, supposedly in Neville, is how he is. I can't stand him. Jumped. I think with this one, yeah, Gary Neville is probably the least liked ex Manchester United player I can think of. And I'm not talking about players like Di Maria and those sort of players, but I'm talking about players that genuinely, as a Manchester United player, Gary Neville is one of the actual like genuine legends. Were 8 Premier League titles, part of Manchester United's Champions League winning teams, is the treble season. He was, he's up there as like one of Manchester United's uh, players that at the time were very well respected, and the same as like Roy Keane. And to be honest, like there's definitely a separation, isn't there, between you on one side you've got Gary Neville, Roy Keane, Nicky Butt, and on the other side you've got people that essentially just don't talk about the club much at all, and that's people like Eric Cantona and people like David Beckham, who, when we're talking about a takeover chance or possibility of someone coming in to buy, they're the kind of people that people want to get involved with the club, aren't they? They're the kind of people that have gone away, done their own thing to some regard, and they're the sort of people that people respect a lot more. And I just look at this and think it's disappointing, isn't it, regarding Gary Neville that whether Gary Neville, like, no, I'm not going to say I mind if Gary Neville buys this. Like Gary Neville's already been doing this sort of thing on his own platform anyway. So Gary Neville has not been particularly positive towards Manchester United. He's not said many complimentary things about Manchester United, and he's already got a platform. So he doesn't need another platform. Like he's on Sky Sports, he's on the Overlap, he's got the platform already. So this clearly, for me, seems to be this isn't about Gary Neville needing a voice. This is about Gary Neville trying to make more money. And again, it's not going to win him many fans, is it? I think with this one, I think a lot of people looked at David Beckham, who went to the USA, set up a club, essentially went through that sort of way of trying to. He made David Beckham's made his money in a different way, and people respect that a bit more. I think with Gary Neville, it's not going to be very popular because that is the only reason he's doing it is to make more money out of the club, and people don't like that. So it'd be interesting to see how is he going to make it worthwhile spending this sort of money. You're going to have to make a decent amount of money. I have no idea actually how many how much money United Stand makes or its turnover, but they're going to want to make a big profit. I'm sure. I'm sure like that surely Mark is still involved as well and will still be getting money from this. Bilal says if it wasn't for full-time Devils, football content wouldn't be a thing on YouTube. Yeah, were they going before the United Stand? Because I'm guessing that football content stuff must go back to probably just trying to think, probably like what 12 to 15 years ago. It's got to be about when things started, where you've got AFTV, I guess with Arsene Wenger era, and you look at full-time Devils. I mean, I didn't even know about that Stretford Paddock was called full-time Devils at the time. I don't even know who started it. To be honest, I don't know who was the first people on that channel. But things have changed, haven't they? The landscape's changed. So if Goldbridge doesn't like Neville, it's ironic that he accepts an offer from him. Money is yeah, money is different, isn't it? I think sometimes you find out when money gets involved. Ollie says Goldbridge, like most people, have a price they're willing to sell out for, and so very few resist the money. Yeah, well, there's no really arguments there, is there? I suppose one thing that's interesting is if you look at it from a different view as well, that this is probably the first time, isn't it? The first time a channel's gone for this sort of money. And when you look at it, do you think there's something on the cards for other big channels? And when you look at the channels, you think, well, AFTV, clearly they've got someone there that's not going to sell that. That's making a lot of money for them. Do you see any other channels actually being sold? I'm trying to think of any channels that are remotely close to United Stand. At the moment, I have no idea how many viewers that some of the bigger channels get. Like I think United Stand was out on its own in terms of a couple of million subscribers. I think the closest to that is going to be maybe Stretford Paddock is that 800,000 or something like that. But would there be any offers for that? That I don't know. It's because if we see one deal happen, is it going to be the start of a trend? And are we going to see, because whatever happens, when you start getting, say, as an example, maybe 20 years ago, 25 years ago, you see Say Manchester United get bought by the Glazers, we're seeing other Americans look at the Premier League as a way of making money. Are we going to start seeing other people looking at established channels and going, actually, what if someone bought AFTV? What if someone bought the Stretford Paddock? Then essentially you're getting these taken out of the hands of like individual owners that have control, decide what they do, and what you do see is a bit of individuality in terms of how like Stretford Paddock will be decided by Terry. Like I will decide what's on this channel. You'll see other people decide what's on their own channel. Like Manchester United has got so many different channels, and people decide what's on it. Would you see a situation where things start being pushed towards a certain trend of like do you find like with music as well it's like okay you got to get noticed, you've got to follow certain trends. Would you get less opinions, or would you get more of the same? Like would channel I suppose what I'm saying is the same way that football gets a bit more repetitive with lots of people copying each other in the way they find the best way of winning matches, are people just going to copy other channels? Are you going to see suddenly loads of channels essentially doing the same sort of thing as the mainstream media? And what would people think regarding that? Because I think a lot of the reasons why people watch maybe don't watch Sky News or would rather watch a small channel is because you can post some comments, you can get involved in the discussion, and there's a bit more of a community around it. So I've been talking for quite a bit. I'll go through some of the comments. And Cody says it's sink or swim after this collaboration. It's yeah, I suppose with this one that we'll be doing regular live streams on the channel, regular group streams. At some point, I suppose what we'll do is we'll probably just check and just see what happens, and maybe we can comment on things then. At the moment, it feels a little bit like an unknown, and I'm guessing that there's going to be significant plans of what to do. I mean, they're not going to just like go right. Let's see what happens. There's going to be a significant plan of what to do, and I'd imagine in the short term, you probably wouldn't want to change too much. Like you wouldn't want to change what's working. I think fans will be looking, like I will be looking as well. I will be looking to see if there's anything different. And I guess regular viewers, I'm not really a regular viewer, but regular viewers will be able to notice any sort of change. And that would be interesting to see. Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to do that quite so much. Stian, welcome to the chat. Thanks for getting involved last night as well. It says you hope. Was there another comment? You said you hope that Mark has done the best decision for fans of football. Ian says it's just a channel. I do not care about a channel enough to worry more than this. Um, I'll speak to you later then, Ian. Cheers for tuning in. Bilal says full-time Devils got bought. Is this true? Got bought by Stephen Bartlett. He almost ruined them, and then Adam House and Jay bought it back and rebranded. Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So that must be going back quite a lot then. Because I remember I know Stephen Bartlett. I've seen him. He was on was he on Dragon's Den or something? I'm trying to think, but yeah. So okay. I don't know what he did that ruined them, but this is why I think it's a gamble, isn't it? Because like with the United stand, it's not really a gamble for Mark because you can always set up again, and you've got kind of the you've got the ability to do that. It's more of a gamble, I think, for Gary Neville, and he's already he's putting the money in. People are going to be there might be a little bit of backlash from some people, but people will be looking into it and seeing what happens. Welcome, Cake, to the chat. Cake says United Stand isn't a fan channel; it's a corporation. Do you think it was always that, Cake, or do you think it changed like some way? Because I know some people that used to watch it a long time ago, and people have said that it changed. I don't know what changed because it's been going for 10 years, so a lot longer than I've been watching football content creation on YouTube. But no, it's possible that that's the case. That I suppose what happens is that things do change, don't they? That's one thing I've said as well. That the channel that you're watching now, United TV, if no, at the moment we're pushing towards trying to get back to 1,000 subscribers after what happened before, and we're going to try and rebuild. We're going to try and reconnect with lots of people that watched it. But I said this as well that when you watch me streaming and you watch any sort of group podcast and you see myself, Helgi, we deserve better, and that's what you're going to see. If the channel has 1,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers, 50,000 subscribers, you're going to see the same people because this is the channel that I'm not going to, I'm not going to try and change things because this is our channel. This is what we're doing. These are the people that are involved. These are the people that make the channel great. And I don't have any plans to like deviate from that because this is kind of what makes the channel fun, what makes it different to other channels because these are our guests. So I know a lot of people think about trying to get maybe bigger name guests on it, but to be honest, that's not really the aim. The aim is to have an independent platform. And I was watching a little bit of a different channel this morning, and they were saying something similar. The idea is that you have a voice, you can say what you want, and it's a free place to speak, debate, talk about things as well, without and it's that's what I would hate to have some sort of rules where. Can you imagine if you did your channel and you were not allowed to say certain things? It would be crazy, wouldn't it? Can you imagine like just if someone said, right, you can't call out the Glazers every stream? I'd be thinking, but they're absolutely awful. That you should be able to do that. Big up to you, Danny. Good to see you. For this, also, this is just a general chat as well. Also, I know so you preferred getting a fanzine off Andy Mitten on the bridge than this? No, I think with this is that with this also for people watching, this is one of those things where as a football community we can decide what we talk about, and this is kind of part of what I wanted to say as well that today, I mean, there's a lot of other news that is probably related to. I did see this. This is probably what we were going to talk about if this hadn't happened. We probably would be talking about disappointing performance last night. And then I do know Jeff, who's in the comments. He's based in Texas though, so he's probably not around this time of day. That we'll probably be debating whether this should be a red card in the modern football. Is this like? He goes for a shirt pull, misses, touches his hair. I've seen actually examples where worse happens in other games, and I don't see any sort of action being taken, and it's just frustrating, isn't it? But no, would there be any restrictions on Mark calling? Is he allowed to call out refs and say VAR is absolutely shite? That you'd hope there's like going to be complete freedom of speech, wouldn't you? But the idea is that as a community, most of what we're talking about is going to be Manchester United football related. But the idea is that if there's things you want to discuss, yeah, let's move that picture because I saw a picture where people photoshopped it a little bit differently, Bilal, and it was yeah, you can see what they were doing with that. No, no, I would say with this one that I did like do a lot of I did do a few polls, and I did see that most people wanted to have most preferences were about long form football content, and so that's probably what the channel's going to do. There is a little bit of interest in short form, a bit of interest in calling shows, but the most of the streams will be like this, and whether it's going to be myself or with other guests, this is what we're going to focus on. And again, this is one where if you've got strong views, the comment section, please get them in, but also let me know on social media because I have pinned all the links at the top. If there's ideas you've got of things you want to see, as I said before, this is literally your forum. You can get, if there's something you want to see on the channel and it's in my ability to do it, I will do that. I will get this out there. So a lot of people have said they do like a calling show, and we will try and do one of those every Sunday for people to come on, have their view, and all you have to do is though just get involved, just come on, support the content because ultimately, if I do a call-in show and no one wants to come on or it's not very well, no one watches it, it's not something we can keep doing. So if you've got ideas, all you have to do is just support them, just get involved, get in the discussion, and we can do that. So it's getting towards the start of the season, the part of the season where there will be loads more to discuss in terms of transfers as well. And yeah, do you know what I think's crazy regarding the sending off last night? Is that it's classified as violent conduct, And I wanted to speak to a referee that I know, but I will try and catch up with them quite soon, just to say that is this? I can't think if anyone's got any views on this. I can't think of a game where a player's been sent off for pulling hair in the same way as like when a player got sent off for Everton, he touched his face, didn't he? He slapped his own player, and you look at it and go, it's it's nothing, but it's still violent conduct. But when I saw it and they said on the game last night, they said right, we're going to look at violent conduct. I was just like thinking because the thing that's really frustrating is it's a red card if it's violent conduct, but a violent conduct red card also carries a 3 game ban, like a mandatory 3 game suspension if you get sent off for violent conduct. So this isn't like the 1 game we missed from Maguire. It's 3 games, and 3 games for like essentially touching someone's ponytail is insane. I think it's really bad. So just to put it on there as well. Let me just put the picture back. I know it looks a bit weird because of the, but 3 game suspension for effectively touching someone's hair for about 2 seconds. And like Martinez is out of position. Martinez shouldn't do it. You shouldn't really be pulling somebody's shirt, but you shouldn't really be pushing people in the face. But we do allow it. It's just that it's for me. There's something in the rules. Like if somebody deliberately grabs someone's hair and like obviously you shouldn't be doing that. But it's so annoying that I mean, I don't think it changed the game because, if anything, Man United were actually a better team without him on the pitch. But I think it was really frustrating that these sort of decisions are apparently in the rules. Like you got to look at it and go, the rules got to be a bit crazy. So, question: is this merger now a Super League of United YouTube channels? I suppose was the overlap a little bit more? I'm trying to think because I don't watch the. I've said this before. I don't watch the overlap, so it's hard, but for me to say. But is it say Super League of YouTube channels? Do you think it's with like the overlap's more general, isn't it? Is the overlap more Premier League than? Because I was thinking in terms of when you had the collaboration between the football terrace and the United stand, for me that was an interesting one because I saw that in my view, the collaboration between Mark and Terry was the biggest Premier League channel in terms of covering all channel like kind of top six. I suppose there is a couple of others. There's some big people that do that as well, but the biggest one that people know or that people refer to was usually the football terrace. Like people I know, there's quite a few people that go on there, and you kind of know what to expect. It's going to be rival fans, bit of banter, and occasionally news, a bit exaggerated. But it was kind of like, maybe the basis of a lot of other copycat channels. People use that as an idea of what content was popular, and lots of people copied that format and did the same sort of things. So it's quite a popular thing on YouTube. There's quite a few other channels that have had some decent success by mimicking that, and I think United Stand was probably like levels above most channels in terms of like how big it got, and also I think people that use AFTV's got an influence as well, but I thought that was probably if you're going to go for a Super League merger, I'm just trying to think that would probably be if like the United stand, who would be the other one? Probably the Football Terrace, and I just don't think they like each other. But the Football Terrace is probably the only other one I can think of. I think everything else, like United View, I think everything else is a like a spin out from. Is there any other big Manchester United channels that weren't part of the United stand to start with? Maybe Flying Pig United might be the only one I can think of. That's an independent channel, and I think to be honest, that if you want independent views, people watch that channel 100% for the person doing the channel because Flying Pig does a great job of presenting and pushing out the content people want to watch. And so I think that's the thing where if you want to watch, can you imagine Flying Pig if you started watching it and you had a different presenter? It just like it's got the same branding, it's got the same everything else is the same, but the person's not there. It's just it would be rubbish, wouldn't it? People watch Flying Pig because of Flying Pig. That's why you watch the channel, and that's why I was thinking that if Gary Neville's bought the United Stand, effectively he's buying Goldbridge, isn't he? I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean the strength of the United Stand is Mark Goldbridge. That's the guy that built up the channel. I know there's people that was it like Flex or Adam, and you got Beth, and there's people that have been on the channel and helping. Saeed TV is probably like a bigger one I've forgotten for some reason. But you have all these people that have come through the United Stand and had very, a lot of success since then. But it's still dwarfed by the United Stand success. And can you imagine if Flying Pig sold the channel to, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of like just some random person that just started out in YouTube? It would just drop off massively. There is a smallish channel, I think I can't remember what it's called now, All for United, that had about 8,000 subscribers, something like that. And they sold it, I think somebody sold it a couple of years ago. It's still got 8,000 subscribers. It literally just stayed where it was because it's the thing that's driving it was the person that was running it. So would this mean United Stand moderators get paid now? I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I think a lot of people look at it and think things will have to change, won't they? There's a lot of moderators that I don't know actually how many moderators are on there, but I suppose with Gary Neville, I don't know what happens with other big channels that have been bought or you, but I suppose like everything, they want to control something, wouldn't they? And I don't know. Someone said this morning, I don't know if it's true, I but when Mark was doing his stream, so it was actually it was this stream this morning. Mark did this stream when he announced the change and said what's happening. And there were people in the comments saying, why are comments getting removed? And I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And I don't know if that, I don't think anyone's going to know at the moment. But no, Rob's the moderator on the United Stand. I mean, I have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, hopefully I think from perspective, hopefully, it's fine and it doesn't change. I think people do worry about sort of freedom of speech. But yeah, talking about the red card, so the red card for Martinez was not a red card. Absolutely ludicrous that being United. Yeah, United were terrible, weren't they? That's why, Kate. I will try and find out from the referee guy I know and see what he says regarding that one. I think Manchester United are going to be. I think Manchester United are going to be appealing it from what I can see. So that's probably going to be something we can look at. Has he done that as well, Stephanie? I saw someone, I can't remember what it is now. I'm starting to think that maybe we're going to have to enforce like no long hair rules or something if that's what happens. But so let's go through a few of the comments as well. I did see a couple of others. If you're able to share the stream as well, that would massively help as we're trying to rebuild. But I saw Cake say a comment about Flying Pig. Exactly. You watch Flying Pig because of Flying Pig, don't you? That was kind of my point. That it's good that channels have their own personality and their own individuality. Because I think that's why it's like if there's certain TV programs people watch and you just watch them because you like, and if suddenly you watch the program and they've changed like the lead actor, you think, oh, okay, it's a bit disappointing, and things can like not be as good. Things can change. No, things can change for the worse as well as the better. That's the point I was trying to make. So Goldbridge was talking about Neville, how he's in bed with Sir Jim and the Glazers. Um, yeah, there's going to be the thing is when you're in a public domain like this, and for example, um, if you say the same thing every day, like if I sat here and said just pick a random player and just criticize that player every single day, then suddenly come out and just say how amazing they are every day. I think you have to be consistent, don't you? And um, Mark probably said a lot of things about Gary Neville, and it does seem to be that Gary Neville doesn't care now, does he? He doesn't care, and I think a lot of people see Gary Neville as being like the opposite of someone like. Can you imagine Eric Cantona being criticised constantly by somebody and then actually agreeing to do business deals with them? It wouldn't happen, would it? And I don't think it would happen with someone like Beckham either. I think it's yeah. I'm not going to say it's I'm not going to say that YouTube channels and certain things are negative or positive, but I think Gary Neville, it kind of like says a little bit about him. Doug, I will probably try and do something for that game, and I'll try and do yeah. So if you want to get involved, Doug, we will try and do something for that. I'll just say this quickly because I don't want to talk about it too much, but basically, I think it got scanned by AI stuff, and I don't think they liked some of the what I'm guessing watch alongs that had, I know, graphics or things. I don't know. So I don't know. It's a bit of a strange one. So we'll talk later. Yeah, we'll talk later, Jim, about this. I don't think money's going to change hands though, Jim. So that booking for Cunha diving was harsh as well. So I think some of the bottom line here is that with with this that we just want a bit of consistency, don't we? Am I worried about top five? Not really. But if we got a really heavy defeat by Chelsea, I would revisit that. But I think at this point in time, we should have enough, like shouldn't we? I'm not going to get too concerned. Rob said, yeah, this is kind of my point a bit, Rob, as well, is that whether you like a presenter or not, like some people will watch this because they like the channel, but other people will just tune in for a second and just not like it, and then tune out. And it's like the thing is that people have got a choice, haven't they? It's a little bit like, say, comedy. If you watch comedy, it's so subjective. You could put five comedians on a show, and none of us would agree on which one's the funny one and which one we like watching. And it's exactly the same with YouTube channels. You could get 10 Man United channels that have all similar size, myself and like nine other people, and everyone would have a different view on which one they like. And that's what you want, is a bit of choice, isn't it? The only concern I've got is that, are we just going to get less choice as well? So I don't know. It's possible. So you're more worried about getting into your local pub than you might getting top five. I know you're getting a reputation, Stephanie, of like of is this is it different? Is it a different story if Manchester United actually win? Are the pub welcoming you back? It's yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah, I'll say this as well, that when people have talked about in the past about, I think one of it was said about, I'm trying to think what the conversation was. It's a little bit like, I suppose, with YouTube. I do know a few people on bigger channels, and I've known them for a few years. And you can, like, I've have gone on other channels as a guest as well, and I can message people and actually go on and speak to them. But I think a lot of it is that I do like the independence, and I do like the fact that if you go somewhere else, I do know for a fact, and this isn't great, but I do know for a fact that some channels, when they got multiple people, it's almost like they arrange to have an argument, and it is a bit disappointing. And I do, I don't know, you do look at it and think, look at the thumbnail, look at the narrative they're trying to push. They just have one person that loves Arteta or one person that hates Arteta. They both seem to be playing like some sort of role. It's a bit pointless to watch, I think, in my opinion. When I've got some guests on my channel, one thing I say is that just you've got to be respectful to people, and you've got to appreciate people have different views. Also, I did say this as well. If you're going to make a point that's, I don't know, somewhat controversial, somewhat a bit extreme, give me some reasons. And I think actually Helgi last night had a really good reason about why he wouldn't want to keep Carrick. I mean, I'm not saying I agreed with him, but he did make a good reason, and there was he had quite a good explanation of what his reason was. And that's why I say I like independence, because it is freedom, isn't it, of speech to say that, we're sat here today, we all watch different channels, and we can say whatever we want, but no one's insulting them. Like half the people watching will probably watch the overlap, watch United Stand, will watch Flying Pig, and everybody's going to enjoy watching different channels. But it's not a problem. I think with some other channels, and the channels I just mentioned, that these are not ones I'm talking about. I'm talking about other channels where they almost like set up a panel of people just to argue about the same thing over and over again. And I just feel like football content creation has got a bit boring, because it's like watching Premier League football, where if you see 20 teams in the Premier League with like loads of them doing a low block, loads of them just passing very slowly through defense, it gets so boring to watch. And if I see a thumbnail where you click on it and it's the same people just arguing about nothing, you just think, okay, this is just pointless, isn't it? And I think there, it's a good thing. So I think there's a big opportunity to grow. as a channel because I think there's definitely, in terms of when I spoke to a few people over the last couple of weeks, there's definitely a gap in the market where you have people that speak reasonably, and also when you get some fans on that, I managed to get some guests on the last calling show. They're people that are lifelong Manchester United fans, season ticket holders, and they're people that go to the games week in week out. Some of them as well, and when they talk about football, they're actually watching the matches, and they have. They have sensible football opinions. They've played themselves, and I've known a few people that have come on as well. They've been in academies. They know what they're talking about, and it's a lot. I think it's a lot better to listen to. There seems to be a lot of people now that if you look at certain channels, I won't mention them by name, but they are just there to try and shout about nonsense. And a lot of the times, you know that they don't even watch the games because of what they're saying. So let's have a look at some of the comments as well. Say a nightmare watching Man United. Yeah, I'm not the best watcher of Man United. That I think it's different, isn't it? When you're watching a game, then emotions run high, don't they? And I'm sometimes shouting at the screen whether it's good or bad, and it's one of those things. So Mark will have a producer telling him what to say behind the camera now. I suppose that actually, I was going to say that I've had a couple of guests in the past where, and you might know why, but there's a couple of guests I've had in the past where I say that maybe there's some things you can't say, but I'm not. They're not football things. They're probably offensive words where I go, look, just tone it down a bit because you probably need to just use what's the word? If you can't explain something without just continually swearing, maybe you need to work on like maybe you need to evaluate your opinions a bit, and maybe you need to just try and explain things a little bit better. But no, if you have things, can you imagine that saying? I don't think that could work, Bilal, because it sounds it would be kind of obvious, wouldn't it? It would be if you had somebody telling people what to say. Can you imagine if you just going, hang on a minute. Yeah, actually, Glazer's doing a good job. Yeah. Now, can you? It's going to be obvious if someone's pushing out something that isn't genuine, isn't it? It's going to be. That's my opinion anyway. I think it's going to be obvious if someone's not saying what they believe in, because if you push them and say that, well, or I suppose it's different with some channels because if they're not interacting with the chat much and they're keeping things a bit vague, maybe it's going to be harder to say. But yeah, I don't know. It could change, but I don't think it's going to necessarily change for the best. But honestly, we're not going to really know at this point in time, are we? And Rob says, I would like the smaller channels. You get a much more genuine take. I think so. I think you do that. Um, I'll say this. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with swearing cake. I mean, I'm just saying that if what's the best way of putting it? Yeah, if the swearing like becomes people insulting people personally, then there is a problem. But I think there's no. I'm not offended by swearing, but I think sometimes if people just swear, if you say right, we're going to do a match reaction, we're going to talk about it, and someone just says that's all they've got. You kind of need to have like some. It doesn't. It's not going to be much of a conversation, is it? If I say, right, how do you think this player played, and the only response I get is he was shit. I mean, I need a little bit more. I need a little bit. Like if you watch the game, surely you got a little bit more than that to give. I think it wouldn't be the most. I don't think it'd be particularly watchable content if that was it. Okay, so I think there might be added pressure for Mark. Goldbridge left Talksport because they were pushing agendas and what to do. I don't see Gary Neville's lot being any different. Yeah, Gary Neville's going to be. I'd imagine Gary Neville's going to want control, isn't he? It's difficult, isn't it? Because if you're Mark, you've got control in you, and it must be so difficult to relinquish it. I mean, I'm saying it's difficult to relinquish it, and then my mind's actually thinking, actually, 1 million plus pounds does make it a little bit easier to to make that decision. So yeah, no, it's going to be definitely different, isn't it? So I agree with that. What was the example you're thinking of, Jim? Like you said, when something like that happens, you always wonder whether the view he's saying is really his view. I suppose with that one, like when you're looking at about the decision last night, I suppose is this something that we're going to disagree on whether this is a red card or not? And with this, I'll put the picture up a bit. I know it looks a bit bizarre, but is this definitely a red card? I mean, when I saw it and they were talking about the match, the commentators were saying if he's pulled his hair, it's a red card. And then you see the clip, okay, he's touched his hair. So is that a red card? It's a little bit like when someone touches someone's face, then it's just like one of these things. Like it's not violent, is it? We know it's not violent, but he touches someone's face. Does that count as violent conduct? And does he have to then get sent off? That's what you look at. And I don't know because I looked at it and thought, yeah, it's soft, isn't it? But are those the rules? And then someone posted a clip this morning where I can't remember who it was, but there was a clip of someone grabbing someone's hair and actually pulling his hair a bit more, and there was nothing given. And I was just thinking, well, if there's like accidental hair pulls in other matches as well that aren't given, then how come suddenly it's like a massive issue for Man United? I mean, it doesn't change the game. We're still losing 2-0, but it does raise the question of like, you know, does this crap happen before? I don't know. Will Maguire and Maina miss the Chelsea game as well? I think Maine's got a knock. My guess is we were talking about this last night. I mean, you were drinking, Stephanie, but you might remember we were talking about this a little bit last night, and I think Maguire will be back because Maguire had a 1 game ban, so he'll be back. And Mainu had a bit of a knock apparently, but I think we were wondering whether maybe mainly was being saved for the Chelsea game. With like we don't do too well when we play 2 games in quite a short amount of time. Is there a chance that Mainu is actually going to play in the Chelsea game and he was being rested a little bit? Like we know, you get 2 games of the week from Casemiro. You don't usually get the best performance. And Magate starting wasn't great, so I don't know. It feels like we're going to have Mainoo starting, but we're going to have to maybe get Casemiro to play at least as much as he can, which might not be ideal, but I don't think he'll be doing much training midweek, so hopefully he'll be okay. We haven't played much football for a long time, so I'd be imagining that I think Maguire and Mainoo both will both play in that game, and I'm wondering whether we gambled a little bit and paid the price, like we thought maybe we'll just save mainly for Chelsea, and this is what's happened. That's my guess. I mean, if it is, unfortunately, no, I think I don't. I expected a difficult game from Leeds. I think most people expected a difficult game from Leeds. So bit too kinky for Martinez there. Yeah, I think it was violent conduct though, rather than anything else, Ryan. I think otherwise it would have been a bit weird. And one thing I would say is when we were watching the game last night and they announced what the decision was, I spoke to JR last night, who is a no, he's a season ticket holder. He was in the comments last night of our stream, and JR said that when they were in the game, or when they were watching in the stadium last night, they had no idea why Alessandro Martinez was sent off. It wasn't. I guess that they could probably, if someone's watching on, I suppose you could probably look on social media on your phone, but you should be watching the game if you're there. And no one in the stadium knew why there was a red card. And I know they announced it, but I think the mic might have cut out. That's just pathetic, isn't it? Can you imagine you're watching a game and there's a big decision like that, and you have no idea why he's been sent off. So for like JR and other Man United fans, they didn't know the reason why he'd been sent off. So it's ridiculous, isn't it? So somebody did that to Fellaini. and but also that's only acceptable in the bedroom. I think when someone did it to Fellaini, I think Fellaini often elbowed them in the head. So it was kind of like, yeah, fair enough. Like if you touch Fellaini's hair, he'd probably just elbow you in the head, and he did that. But it's Martinez has just tried to grab his shirt, hasn't he? For whatever reason. If you look at the angle, Martinez, he shouldn't grab his hair. I think he's trying to grab his shirt. He's not. I don't think he's even looking. But it's one of these things where footballers just seem to be pretty much shirt grabbing all the time, and Martinez got a bit unlucky. He shouldn't be doing it though. So maybe Martinez forgot the girly hair, says Rob. Yeah, I mean, as Steen says, play football but don't touch don't touch the hair now. It's a red card offence, guys. Uh, that's making me laugh. Yeah, it's probably Stephanie. Probably it was one of those. To be honest, actually, when you've had a few drinks, you kind of need a bit of food, don't you? So it makes a bit of sense. If anyone's got any final questions or comments, then please get them in. After about an hour, my voice starts fading a bit. So if people got some comments and questions, I would say if you're new to the channel, please check out the socials that are pinned. We got a good Facebook group, we got a good Discord, and I'm posting a few things on other social media platforms as well. But no, it's one where, like I said, the community's growing. We're starting kind of somewhat from not from scratch, but we're starting on a lower footing. Then please just get involved, share the stream as much as you can, and let people know we're back. I did get quite a few questions last night about channel memberships and having like things next to your name in the chat. I can't do anything about that until we hit at least 3,000 watch hours, and that's just basically people just watching the channel, and that's probably going to take at least a few weeks as a minimum. But the more people that watch and the longer you watch, if you leave like little things like leaving comments on videos and rewatching streams for like a decent amount of time, that does help and it does push things in the right direction. We're making big progress so far. It's been like less than a week, and I think we've gone up by 40 subscribers, and a lot of people got back in contact. So it is one of these things that's just going to take a bit of time. But no, we're going to get there, and hopefully we'll get there sooner rather than later. But yeah, as I said, if you recognise people in other channels that used to be part of the community, then discreetly just mention that we're kind of back. I don't want to like spam people, and like I wouldn't want to self promote in other channels. It's a bit unethical, but we're gradually going to get there. I think gradually we'll like last night Jarvis redirected a few people over here, and the channel United stream. I think I might be able to go on there tomorrow, and there is like I know Red Devil Studio as well. There's a few people I know that will help. It's going to take a bit of time though. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to take. But we will get there at some point. But I say if people got some final questions, then Golby's bottled it because Rich and we're back. Do you know what? I really miss the custom emojis we used to be able to put in the chat as well. Like I forgot how much we had and how much we'd actually done until it's gone. And what's really frustrating is I can't even raid Gaming Simp. I can't even raid Berber's channel. I'm not allowed to redirect until I hit certain milestones on YouTube. It's so frustrating. So when I finish my stream, I can't send people over anymore and have those sort of links to the community. It's annoying, but yeah, we will get there. I will say this as well. If anyone knows, if there's like say 5, 10 people watching now that know someone else that watches football channels, that you can just let people know, it's going to help so much. That I can do so much, but yeah, the more people that get involved, the better, and we can just spread it. It's going to be. But we had 10,500 people like in the community, and it's so annoying to have it like it basically has been like not decimated, like 90%'s gone. It's like crazy, isn't it? But we'll get back there. It's annoying. I want that. Yeah, I quite like. Do you know what I quite liked having? I had the picture of Eric Cantona, and I used to be able to post it when people tuned in. I've got all the emojis. I've got all the channel member badges and stuff saved, so I can put everything back as soon as we get there. But I think it's going to take at least 3 or 4 weeks at this trajectory at the moment. I'm not really worried about the subscriber count. It's just about being able to do those sort of things that's frustrating. So I did get messaged by about 3 people last night asking me why why they can't be a member, and I was just like, I'm not allowed to do anything. But it's annoying. But I'm also for this stream today because it's like when I was doing three streams a day last year, there was loads of news coming out. So this one is just it's a topical news. I thought I'm going to vary things a little bit to start with because otherwise we're talking about the same thing every single day. If you follow anything in terms of whether it's like the say Facebook group or the Discord, then Jim does a great job in the Discord posting things in transfer news there. And Cody's like doing things in Facebook as well. And I'm trying to post things on TikTok as well. All I'm saying is that if you've got suggestions of things you want to see, then just be vocal. Just like put a suggestion there. Because at the moment it's going to be very much geared towards whatever is happening in Manchester United. So this is kind of one where the idea behind this stream was Manchester United, like United stands the biggest channel. It's just been sold. Hopefully, and people will be looking for this, or people will know this is happening, and this gives you a forum to discuss it. But also, it's an idea to say that this is what's happening with some fan channels. This fan channel, you guys get to shape what happens, and ultimately, if we do something and you guys support it and people enjoy it, we'll do more of it. So last year lots of people it's not for everybody, but lots of people really loved the transfer news content, and we did some very good coverage on that. Lots of people were sending me news, and I was able to be really up to date, really hammer transfer content, and we made some amazing predictions regarding Sesko and Buemo, Cunha, Dorgu. We were right on the ground floor, like right early on in those stories, and we covered those stories. And even like at the end of the transfer window, Anana going to Trabzonspor, we were all over that as well. So we were very accurate, and lots of people liked that. So we did more of it. But if you got an idea of something different you want to see, then this is your opportunity to sort of suggest it because we can do that and we can do that sort of thing. And say we're back up soon. Yeah, this is it's going to be like a definite bounce back, I think. So when Stephanie says like there's no hype facility on the streams, and I think it's because you need to get a certain level. I can't connect the YouTube channel to my Discord because I'm not monetized yet, and I can't offer memberships because again I'm not. This frustrating, isn't it? I can't do these things. It's going to take a bit of time, but that's why I said if you got like a free, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour, and you can just leave the stream running, like an old stream running for that amount of time, that's going to be the hardest thing to tick off. I've got to get 3,000 watch hours. That's going to take a long time. Like I estimate at the moment, if I got 10 people watching and I stream for an hour, it's like 10 hours, isn't it? So I'd have to do 100 streams. So it's going to be long. But if you're able to do that, that would really help. Say regarding this one, all I can say is that it was very vague, very there wasn't really much. There was no warning. There was no explanation at all. And I spoke length. This is the only time I'll talk about it because I don't want to keep talking about it. I will respond to messages, etc. as well. I think it was a lot of channels get scanned by AI and something had triggered it. It's possibly that some watch along where there wasn't someone talking, maybe is my guess, but they wouldn't give any real indication of what it was. And but I'm able to. They did say I can completely, I'm absolutely free to carry on with this channel. So no idea. Lehman said, I won't name them, but three of your subscribers accused me for your channel being taken off. I'll just say this. There's no there's no single reason why it disappeared. I'm not this I think this comes down to automation on YouTube. I don't think it's the person making the decision. So I think they did say they looked at it and but there is there's no problem with restarting. It's just really annoying, isn't it? Really, really annoying. Yeah, I appreciate that. I would say this that that if you could, I would say probably don't mute it because that might be suspicious. But if you have it on a really really low volume, if you don't want to listen to it, and unless it like sends you to sleep. But no, one of the things I've been reading regarding like a good way of actually getting things back running would be that YouTube is obviously an algorithm, its equations, etc. And I keep saying this a few times as well. Things you do that makes YouTube think you like it, like watching the content is obviously fantastic. But if you interact, if you leave a comment and then stop watching one stream, watch another one, so you watch more than one thing at once, that probably sends YouTube. That's kind of like a satisfaction leap where they go, okay, the person's satisfied. You watch the channel, like no, say a lot of people can watch channels and not interact at all, and YouTube will think, okay, right, you've watched it, but you haven't really interacted. If you watch it and then maybe interact, maybe click the like, leave a comment, say interact, maybe comment, maybe leave a comment to another channel, no, say another person that leaves a comment, reply to them, and just have a conversation. Just things that make you interact, I think, will be that sort of thing. Yeah, I think some people might find like a long stream does that as well. They might find it a bit soporific, a bit like it's. I think sometimes a long transfer stream, if you're not interested, could be maybe conducive towards like watching baseball late at night, where you think, okay, this is actually making me feel quite sleepy. So it might do that. One thing I would do is 24-hour streams. Do you know what? One thing I did think of, I can't really do it at the moment, but I did think of maybe maybe having this is like an idea, maybe trying to do something like not just me, but maybe at one point, I don't know if you can actually stream 24 hours using like streaming software. I couldn't do it on StreamYard because I'd have run out of time. But maybe doing like some sort of long stream, possibly, Stephanie, it's not a bad idea. Or maybe doing like some sort of charity stream at some point. I was thinking that, maybe that could be something when we got the channel built up. And also, I was thinking that if when I can bring back memberships and stuff, then you could have then maybe what I could do is like use that in a way of actually when we do a fantasy football next year, have like a prize fund, etc., and do that sort of thing and have like maybe sort of competitions or something like that. So yeah, no, it was no specific reason, quite vague. So these are kind of things like for the future. One might be when I get memberships back, use that in a way of actually having like a target that if you get a certain number of members, you then when we do like I don't know fantasy football or something, it could be like what do you call it? There could be like a prize for that, or if you get a certain number of subscribers, a certain number of members, we could do a giveaway like an Amazon voucher or something like that as like a maybe like to mark the milestone. So I don't know whether maybe if we get monetization again, we'll do like some sort of giveaway, something like that. And if we can do it by a certain time, all the better. So if anyone's got any suggestions, I did think as well this as well that if you once you get to a certain level, it would be quite good to there's certain people that were members for 5 years, and it's a real shame that there's still actually I haven't seen this account before for a while, but the account I can't try to think what isn't it? It's like the John Wayne account. The people will know John Wayne. He's got the John Wayne emoji. He's a Eintracht Frankfurt fan from Germany. He watched the channel for probably 5 years at least, and I haven't seen him over the last few days. It'd be great to reconnect with him as well. He was like one of the old school people on the channel, so that's one of the things I'm thinking of. I think there's a lot of things we can do. I think there's a lot of things we tried over the few years with like different people, different guests, and I think what we've got at the moment is we've got a really good group of people that present, like myself, Jules as presenters. You've got Isabella, you've got Helgi, you've got Owen, you've got Dora, you've got other people as well, and Kieran. And this is like a really good group to start with. And what do you mean exactly? Like what specifically do you mean in terms of the way he did it? I don't know. Do you mean like having? Because at the moment, one thing that I would say is difficult is at the moment, it's kind of about just time, isn't it? It's like if I can do a stream like now, once I'm set up, it's easier to just carry on than it is to do a separate stream, so I can just carry on this a little bit longer. And yeah, if you see John, John's a top guy, like a really top guy. He was like supportive of the channel for about 6 years, and I have no way of contacting him apart from I see him on YouTube. I used to see him in the comments, and that's such a shame. I think with the United Standards, you've got loads of paid people, haven't you? You got a big organization, and it would take a long time to get to that sort of level regarding that, wouldn't it? It would take a long time to get to that sort of level. Um, but no, what I've tried to do, I tried a little bit last summer, but it's really difficult because I think lots of people are keen to get involved, and then they realize how much effort it takes behind the scenes. Like you've got to make a thumbnail, you've got to set things up, you've got to do a bit of research, you've got to find out some informations as well. It's tricky, isn't it? It's cheers, Deanne. Thank you so much as well. One thing I did say as well is let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I've got it set up, but I had this map I was making. It's so disappointing that I can't really use the map again. Let me just see if I can give me like a second. I'll just see if I can find the map. But I had a map of like the channel community. It was looking so good. It was no, we had people across the USA, people, and I was so disappointed that the map disappeared. And well, I say not disappeared, but I don't know the people on the map anymore. I don't know if they're watching anymore. But I will try and bring that back. I can't even find it now. But I know, and this was kind of copied a little bit. I did say at the time, People's United TV is a channel I did like, and oh, if I could find the map. Okay, I've got the Red Devil. Oh, it's Red Devil. I might have to rebadge this a little bit, but let's see if I can get it back on screen. I wasn't prepared to do this, but I will try and share it. Just trying to think what's the best way of doing this. Okay, I think it's come back on screen there, isn't it? So I don't know why it's got TalkSport at the top, but let me just go into that screen. So yeah, I had this one, and what I'll try and do is I'll try and redo this map because this map was like people that were on there, and I know like Stian's quite new. I know you're in Norway, and I did actually have Helgi in Norway there. Let me just see if I can. Yeah, no, there's no way it's coming back, unfortunately, if that's one of the thoughts. So let's see if I can zoom in a tiny bit on here. It's not going to look that nice because I'm not think I'm not really let's have a look on the screen. So I wasn't prepared, so it's not going to be particularly great on the screen at the moment. But if you can see there, that's a lot of UK people. Let me just go back to that other screen. You might be able to see there. It's kind of only mapping a bit, but what I'll do, I'll bring this back. What I might do is I might go through the map, and anyone that I don't see on the maps that we're not seeing anymore, I'll probably remove from and gradually start again. It's annoying, isn't it? But this is what we had at one point. Let's go back to the map. So this is what we had at one point. If you can see on the screen, we had India, we had Australia, Africa. Was that you, Coyote? That's probably you, Coyote. In there, we had Brazil, we had Chile, we had USA and Canada, and a lot in the UK. We got Germany, and I think we got Helgi there. Oh no, we got another person there. That could be Helgi's friend, and we got Helgi. That's actually no, is that Helgi? Oh, that could be Helgi's actual name then. But yeah, we got. Unfortunately, the map is. Yeah, unfortunately, the map is now has lots of people I don't know anymore. But we will be bringing that back. That would be something good. So let's go back through the comments. Yeah, no, it's. I think it's just impossible, but with that, but we can. What we can do is we can rebuild a lot quicker, and we can get things back a lot faster because there's a lot of us, and we can hopefully get back to where we are. The fact that the channel went from 410 to 450 in about 4 days shows that we're reconnecting with people quite quickly. And like Stian, if you know people on other channels that I suppose that you think would be interested, then that would be good. I did see actually they're appealing. I saw that they're appealing the Martinez red. If if that gets overturned, there's going to be big question marks over why the hell did it why did it happen in the first place? It seems like another thing that should be avoidable, doesn't it? It seems like another thing where that this is another indication that the rules are being applied quite bad. I mean, when I was watching it, when the referee goes to watch the monitor, and then Gary Neville's probably in your ear going, "Oh, this is probably going to be a straight red." And you think, "Thanks, Gary." Um, and you're watching the match, and the referee's looking at the match for ages, and you pretty much you see it straight away. And I think the referee must. I actually thought when the referee was looking at the video, I was thinking the referee must be thinking, "Am I going to send him off for pulling his hair?" And because that's bullshit, isn't it? And I'm just wondering whether he thought, is it one of these things where they think that's in the rules? Like the fact that you know how sometimes you get rules where and they say according to the letter of the law that should be a red card, whereas in most matches they overlook it. I think it was along those lines where maybe in the rules it'll say, okay, if someone pulls someone's hair, it's a red card. Maybe that's the law of the game. I don't know. I'm not a professional referee, and but when you look at other games, you think, wow, loads of people do the same sort of thing. There's loads of precedents for it, and you think, oh, why wasn't it a red card in other games? Like, why isn't this something that's happened all the time? And it's not, and it's annoying, isn't it? Yeah, big up to you, Helgi. I shared the clip of you saying you'd shave your head if Carrick isn't manager. And I got a response from Mo like about 5 minutes ago saying you got to do it live on screen. I did see a story this morning that Manchester United apparently flying to Germany in a sort of managerial discussion type story. And I did think I might have to send you that later. I might have to do that. And yeah, Helgi, if you're around, I might do a stream tonight because I'm just going to try and keep the thing rolling. So if you fancy joining something tonight, Helgi, let me know. I might try and do something every night for a little bit of time. I'm not sure what the time frame will be, but I'm going to have to. Obviously, I'm going to have like some sort of angle, some sort of like story to start with. So if anyone's got suggestions, let me know. But it will probably be in terms of like time frame. I might be looking at something like a 7 to 8 p.m. start, that sort of time. It probably just depends on when you're available, Helgi, when you know how long it takes to set up. Obviously, Kate says, "Was it Casemiro?" Kate, I need to ask you as well, Kate. I know you have some apprehension about it. I don't think you need to worry. I think you should come on and come back onto come onto like a calling show on the weekend and just have your say in a calm environment where you have different views. I think you should put them out there with your arguments. No one's gonna talk over you. You're gonna have a platform where you can just speak. I was talking last night with Helgi Widsabetta. None of us agree on Carrick. I'm just saying, if you don't want to come, well, I'm not going to force you. Obviously, I'm not going to. You like us there, but I'm not going to force you. It's like I said, the option's there. If you don't want to come on, I'm not going to force you. But if you want to put your view, because sometimes I find myself, it's a bit frustrating when you're in the comments because you can't always articulate what you want to say. And sometimes people, you've got a limited number of characters and you just type in a comment. And I think I was just going to say, if you want the option to come on for 5 minutes and you can just say whatever you think, it's fine. I think the thing about football is there's different opinions. I respect different opinions. I'm not going to, I won't say I'm going to agree, But Helgi made a really good point. I said this last earlier today. Helgi made a really good point talking about substitute teachers regarding personal experience, regarding managers, respect, the difference between being a temporary and being long-term permanent. And I think he made a good argument, like an argument that maybe you could use as well. So I'll just say, invite's always open. Like everybody's welcome to come on those sort of shows. Like I'll respect views. I'll just say this: I won't agree all the time. Sometimes I will, but I won't always agree. And you're welcome to disagree with what I say. I mean, when we haven't been bought by Gary Neville, so we can say what we want. Um, cheers, Jay. I appreciate that. But yeah, this is new. If you're able to, like, I know I'm on TikTok as well at the moment. There's the links at the top of this stream. But hope all's good your end. If you're able to share it among people you know that we mutually know as well, that would be appreciated. Anything that it's good that you found it as well. People are gradually getting back in here, and it's kind of funny, isn't it? That every sort of stream, it feels a bit like going back to university after a year out. I was saying to someone recently, and then each day you go, "Oh, I've not seen you and gradually you're kind of getting the group back together." So that's how I see it. It's like it's a bit of a fresh start. So 7 is a good time. Yeah, 7 could be a good time. I think with this one, the only thing that is a constraint is that I just got to set it up, and I think with this one, I've just got to have time to set it up and just have things to discuss, to do the organization behind the scenes. Obviously, have like food, etc. here as well. So 7-ish might be okay, but I just need to I need to have something to discuss. So just looking at a few comments, I'll probably finish up in a few minutes. That'll be 1 hour and a half. That'd be enough, I think. Yeah, just consider it. You don't have to come on. It's just and like staying in the comments as well. You are welcome to come on. Then it's one of these things, isn't it? Where in the past, I remember we talked about having different people on, and we had people that are watching from, say, like we have Helgi in Norway, we have myself in the UK, and then we'd have people watching from, say, America, people watching in Canada, and we get guests on regularly. We will get Dora back on, who's also from Croatia. So we have like a good range of different opinions and people from different places as well. So yeah, everybody's welcome, but if you don't, no one's forced to. It's not like karaoke where you kind of like the mic's going to be pushed into your hand. Like you don't have to. If you want to just watch in the comments, it's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Yeah, Colin's show has been roughly around about 7 p.m. on a Sunday, and the only thing I try and do is just dodge games. Like, unfortunately, with Man United, we were playing on a Sunday, etc., and it's just a bit frustrating, isn't it, at that point in time? Um, no, I think with this, it's the point of like so your views. Some people do agree with your views, and it's fine. Some people do agree with your views, and that's okay as well. But yeah, it's not a problem at all. Yeah, we might do some more. We'll probably look at doing some more calling shows, Bilal, because I know some people in the USA found it difficult on a Sunday, so maybe there'll be scope to do another one of those as well. Each fan says Beth Mort. I don't know Mort's actually. I know Ricky vaguely because I know Ricky absolutely loves Luke Shaw, doesn't he? He loves Luke Shaw. I think we should have built around Luke Shaw and Dan James with Ricky. Um, Beth, do you think it would be a Beth on the top? I think Beth like could probably spin out into her own channel if she wants to. I don't actually know who Mortz is. Um, so the overlap will have slick professional presenters and pundits ready to go. Maybe I think Beth's got her own channel anyway, isn't she? So maybe she's already ready for that. Who knows? Who knows? I think with that, does Ricky have his own channel? I don't know. I mean, I think the people at United TV, say the United Stand presenters, will probably. I think most of them, depending on their motivation, will be able to start up. Who knows? Who knows? But be up to you, niche fan. I've got a question for you, niche fan, because I know you used to watch the channel in the past. My question is going to be: I did have this map, and I did put it up earlier about where people were watching in the world. I don't know didn't know where you were based, whether you were UK based or whether you were somewhere else in Europe or wherever. Because I think we will put a map together, and it'd be good to get everybody back on it. How do I feel for Mark? Happy, jealous, or what? I'm going to say this honestly. I don't really have an opinion. I think Mark Goldbridge already had success anyway, so this is just more success. It's like I don't know. It's with United. I think a lot of people are jealous because he's got a big platform, but he has put in an insane amount of effort to actually get to where he was, and he's probably the reason why a lot of people actually have a platform. So I don't know. I think some people probably some people are jealous. I don't like happy. I don't know because I don't know Mark personally, do I? So I don't know. I mean, I don't really have an opinion, if that makes sense. I think for me, what I'll say this is generally, I'm kind of interested to see what happens. And I said this about 20, maybe about 30 minutes ago. If there was if we saw a story next week that someone else was buying the Stretford paddock, I would be thinking, whoa, what's actually happening? But to be honest, I don't know if it's a part of me thinks that it's not necessarily a good thing for the viewer because I think people that watched fan channels liked that it was liked that it wasn't it wasn't Talksport, it wasn't like slick presenters or I think that's what people were thinking. So I don't know. So now I've looked at this one. So because in terms of this, like Ryan says, you like Ricky, you like Beth. I think a lot of people will have. So he's already confirmed. Really? Oh, okay. If that's true, then well, we'll see, won't we? I did say this um, in terms of like what it was put out on the football terrace. I don't think that Terry Flewers knows that he's got this collaboration or did have this collaboration with United Stand. I don't think he knows if it's carrying on. I don't think it was that either. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one with that one. Yeah, as well. I can see. I think with Beth, I don't see why she gets a lot of stick. But you know, it's one of those things. It's a big platform, but you're going to get people will disagree and post things like that. I've seen it with Alice Talks Football as well. When she had when she was talking about Ruben Amorim and saying she wanted him sacked, people attacked her for that views. So it was disappointing because I think if somebody if I said, for example, if I said an opinion on a football player or a manager or a team, and you disagree, then if you post something on social media and say, "Oh, Rich is like a clown," he said this, then I think that's just like shows a lack of like ability to have a conversation. If you got in the comments and posted something, then I would be able to talk about it and respond. That's why I kind of invite people into the conversation. Say if you want to have a conversation about it, you can. Like for example, Cake says Amram is a better coach than Carrick. Um, I mean, Amarin's win record of 30% was pretty down there. I think, well, one of the things you could say though, if you're going to take a certain view, you could say that under Ruben Amorim, fitness levels seem to be improved, but I think tactical stuff then was not great. I think the people behind Michael Carrick are probably doing a better job than the people behind Ruben Amorim. But again, it's we're third in the league. We weren't third in the league before, but again, it's different of opinion, isn't it? But I think the next few games will change people's view as well. But I mean, no, it's not great either way, is it? Big up to you, Matty, as well. Thank you for getting back involved. I don't know if you've heard what happened, Matty, but I can always message you. It's a bit annoying, but effectively we're kind of rebuilding a little bit. If you tell social media the ocean is blue, people will kick off. It's 100% true, isn't it? It's 100% true. Unfortunately, that is the way. But again, so so niche fan is saying Gary basically bought Mark, and that's completely understandable. He's the talent. That's kind of what is interesting, I suppose, is that Mark Goldbridge will have to stay, won't he? Because that's the reason he paid the money. Beyond that, I don't know. Are we going to see like a rebrand? Are we going to see something different? I mean, they can't really change too much, I would have thought. I'm just trying to think of how they're going to do that because surely you've got the massive platform to start with, and I guess what there's going to be it's probably not a bad time to do it because the busiest time in football content creation is going to be coming up to the summer. Then we're probably going to find out over the next few months about whether it's been a success, I guess, because if it is a success, then the first one we're going to see is like views skyrocketing, and we're going to see very slick presentation. We're going to see a lot. I guess with like a lot of YouTube, that things. One of the things that people liked, I suppose, initially was that people could just go on there, create a platform, start talking, and maybe that's going to change a little bit. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm just looking at that comment saying was not flat. Yeah. What channel are you watching that's even discussing whether the Earth is flat? Yeah, no idea, no idea. But no, niche fan. I don't know if you said. I was going to ask you, niche fan, where you're from, because we might add you to a map at some point. But we don't need to know specifics. Just like what country you're watching from. I was just interested. But I appreciate you getting back in contact as well. And we're going to try and as a football channel, we're going to try and keep doing what we think we're good at, and that will be talking about Manchester United in a way which we probably don't always agree. And if I get Helgi on, he'll disagree with loads of things, but that'll be fine because he'll do it in a humorous way and with long explanations, and it'll be cool. But it will be something that we try and do regularly. I mean, unfortunately, I know a lot of people used to message me and say, why don't you get this person on or that person on? And unfortunately, people just aren't available. But it does take up a lot of time and does take a lot of time behind the scenes. And some people just, it's difficult to do that. But we will be trying to do, reconnect with some old hosts as well and guests as well as much as we can. But I think in terms of like the ones I know at the moment, Wiz Isabella, Helgi, and they will be the most available. But also, I'll be looking at. I message a few other people I know as well and see when they're around, and hopefully we'll get more panel shows again because that's kind of like what built the channel up in the first place. The only reason it stopped was a lot of the time it was just actually quite difficult getting people on that amount of time. Oh, nice one. Yeah, we've got a lot of people in the UK in the map. Are you from Manchester or like somewhere around there? I'll bring the map back in a few days. I'll just need to like edit it a little bit and make it sure it fits on the screen properly. Okay, I think Beth will be fine. Whether or not it's the same, I think she'll be absolutely fine. I don't think it's going to be an issue. Any final questions before we go? So if you just found this channel today, please subscribe. Please follow the socials as well. Massively helps. And I'll be annoying people by updating a few things in terms of like we're going to gradually get back to hopefully get back to 500 subscribers soon, and then go for 1K. We're going to be gradually ticking off other things as well. I will share these things in the Discord. We do have a fantasy football league that's running in the Discord. Please get involved next year probably because I don't think you can rejoin now, but we'll be doing that again. And also, I will be running probably some polls occasionally on the channel as well to kind of gauge opinion. But again, make sure if you want to leave a comment on any video at all, I always check the comments and respond to them. If you've got some suggestions or things you'd like to see, and I think what we're going to be doing mostly is probably going to be covering um, transfer news story, any sort of news stories, to whether it's related to players, manager, head coach situation, and the club in general, previews towards the next match, match reaction, etc. We might try and do watch alongs if we get a host on that to discuss the match. We might do something along those lines, but we will have all these things kind of in place. But apart from that, if you've got some thoughts, I think one of the things that is popular is yeah, the Discord's still there, the Basses. So it's been kind of helpful regarding this one. If my channel, this is a great question, Kate. This is a brilliant question. If my channel partnered up with an ex-Man United player, do you know what? There's two names that are levels above everybody else, like levels in terms of who I'd go for. One of them is well, if you can, I'll give you like 30 seconds to try and guess, or like a minute to try and guess. But there's two people that would be way above anybody else on top of my list. There's maybe like a few others that might be potentially close. But someone said actually, from a commercial perspective, Cristiano Ronaldo is a good one. It is a good one. It is a good one. People that watch the channel maybe when it was Red Devil United, we'll probably be able to go from the custom emojis and pick some names out of that one. But I would say 5 points to Rob for Eric Cantona would be an unbelievable person to actually get involved. He would be one of my favourite players. So Bilal, yeah, when Eric Cantona shaved his head, he would be my favourite ball football player. But also another one that would have been right up there as well. And like Jay mentioned both of them. The other person that would be right up there as well would be David Beckham in terms of what he's done in football, what he's done in outside of football, setting up a club. I mean, he's been like unbelievably proactive. He's always positive about Manchester United. He was David Beckham grew up a Manchester United fan, played for the club, never wanted to leave the club. He's still a Manchester United fan. He would be an up there as well. So um, Cantona was my favourite player, and then I kind of like I just enjoyed watching football. But Cantona was my favourite player when he played. When he left, there's so many good players. For some reason, I don't know what it was. For some reason, he's not the probably Roy Keane was probably one of the most important players. We had other players that were the most like Rooney and Ronaldo were probably the best two players we had for a time. There's something about Beckham. I just liked Beckham. I was disappointed he left. I mean, luckily we replaced him with Cristiano, but they would be two top ones. Um, and Ryan Giggs has been mentioned a few times. Yeah, the only thing about Ryan Giggs is it's a shame Ryan. Yeah, it's a shame like non-football stuff is like not being great regarding that one. But how much Gary Neville bowled? I mean, Gary Neville's just annoying, isn't he? So Everett or Rio? I guess if you're talking about people in the media, now Rio Ferdinand was one of the best players, but I think if you're looking at players that I really like to talk to, I think Eric Cantona and Beckham would be right at top of my list. And maybe also it might be a factor that David Beckham and Eric Cantona, they seem to have, you never hear them trashing Manchester United for views and clicks. They're never saying negative things about the club. the only thing I hear about from Eric Cantona is he's just massively disappointed by how the club's run, how things are going, and he would be a great ambassador. And also David Beckham, he doesn't say anything about the club too much, but you can tell that he's just pissed off when things aren't going well at United. So this is kind of my reasons, but it is yeah, it's difficult. You could probably get a lot of people, couldn't you? But just um, what reviewing Cake? I don't know if I want to watch that. um, yeah, I was going to say, Cake. Send me a message because I've lost where your channel is. But if that's what you're doing with your channel, I'm not 100% sure it's something I need to see. It's- but it could be niche content for someone. It could be something that there's someone will like it. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? If you had to pick two people, if I picked one player, I'd be picking Eric Cantona. I think would be the one. But no, what was the actual question? Was it just like collaboration? But if Beckham can get like a fair bit of let's see, I'll open that in a new tab. Cheers, Ryan. I will. The thing is, like, I did lose all these channels, so I will. There, you got an extra subscriber, Cake. I will be scrutinizing your content, and I will be posting my I don't know, whatever views you don't like. I will be sharing some of those on there. No, only joking. But no, I think that yeah, if I was partnering in terms of like business, I think that David Beckham would be pretty good, wouldn't he? So, is there any final questions? Because my voice is about to completely fail. There will be a live stream tonight, as we're kind of just literally just organised between myself and Helgi. There will be a live stream tonight. Live streaming later today. Yeah, I can't. Unfortunately, I can't raid or redirect you, Cake. But I will try and call by as long I'll be doing something myself probably. Lewis Aha is a multi-billionaire. Yeah, did I say how much I liked Lewis Saha? I don't think I mentioned it earlier. No, he would be. No, I mentioned Saha quite often in terms of one player that we got rid of that was injury prone, but no, he was a quality player, wasn't he? He used to go. He scored a huge amount of goals in a short space of time, but unfortunately, there's injuries as well. Will I sell my channel for a five-figure amount? No, we just started, Lumen. I'm not looking to like sell my channel. Seven figures, and we're like never seriously talking, aren't we? But no, no. At the moment, it depends. There's nothing set in stone below, so we'll just have a look at what's trending. But no, Lewis Saha. I remember Saha coming on and playing what like 6 or 7 games, getting 6 or 7 goals, being literally unplayable, and then getting a knee injury and be out for like 3 months. I don't think Luis Saha missed like 1 or 2 games. He usually missed like 2 or 3 months. And it was just really annoying because I thought I rated Saha when he was at Fulham. And I think he might have been at Bristol City before. He was one of these players that I remember, I think just before he joined Manchester United, he was playing. Did he score 2 goals against us when we played Fulham? When Van Nistelrooy scored two on his debut, I think it might have been Saha playing for Fulham then. And I thought Saha was a top quality player throughout his career. And when we got him, I was just very happy that we got him. It was just he was one of these players where injuries just kind of ruined his career. Luis Saha was such a good player, and it was disappointing. So let's go through a few of the comments. Mini Wayne, big up to you. Thanks for getting involved. I don't think I recognise this your account, so thanks for tuning in. Let's go through a few of these. Say, wasn't world class. I think Lewis Saha was up there. Lewis Saha was a great finisher, good goal scorer. I can't remember his actual stats. I'll just double check, but he was one of these players that he would go on runs where he'd get like say he'd play 5 games, score 5 goals, then just get a lot of injuries. It was a bit annoying. In the end, it kind of ruined his career. I don't know how he's gone on to make billions though. Shame we're not in contact. So Lewis Saha, so his club career, Manchester United, 86 games, 28 goals. I think with that one, he used to go on like little bursts, and then he got so many injuries that I think towards the end there was some games where he just missed a lot, didn't he? I think for Manchester United, maybe we're looking at the end of his Manchester United career where, say, I think he got 7 goals in 19 games, 05, 06, 06, 07. He just barely played. If you look at this Premier League record, there's like 5 seasons there where the most games he's played is 24 in the Premier League. The second most is like 19. So he's playing like less than half the games in the Premier League. It's just disappointing. And he goes to Everton, his goal scoring record is slightly better. He gets like 35 goals in 115 games. But no, it's one of these ones where, considering his injury issues, he almost played 500 games, like in top flight competitions across the Premier League and a few in Serie A at the end. But no, it's one where I think he's a player that if you look at the stats, it maybe doesn't back it up. But if you watched him play, then you probably see what we're seeing, that he was just a very good player, in my view. Maybe world class is like subjective, but Matty, is there any news regarding Manchester United? I'll look into this tonight, and yeah, no, he's difficult, isn't he? Very good player, but world class is one of those things where no one agrees what it is. Like people tell me Eric Cantona wasn't world class, but I would say he was the most influential player in the Premier League for several years. And the reason he didn't play for France was because he had some personal issues with the manager of France. So if he'd been able to play in that French team in '98, maybe we'd have seen it different. But it's one of these opinions, isn't it? Where um, Louis Saha was a great player, in my opinion. Was he world class? I don't know. Also, when you're a French player and France has got an unbelievable team in, say, like the early 2000s, then it's going to be you're going to have to be world class to get into the team. It's very, very difficult. Really, really difficult. Um, Thank you for that, Minnie Wayne. Appreciate that. You're kind of like one of the new people to the community since we kind of restarted. So big up to you, Wayne. We'll be live tonight. I'm not sure exactly what time, but we will be looking at transfer news, and we're trying to discuss a few things. If you see anything, please leave a comment on any video, like I said, and I will look at it probably about 5 or 6 o'clock tonight when we start setting things up, and we'll see what news is out there. Yeah, no, big up to you, Jay, as well. Just no, just get involved when you can, Jay, and hopefully next time we see you, it'll be some good news. Just a quick answer with that one. I believe Aiden Heaven, Yoro, Maguire will be available. So I think Maguire will be available in that match. Lissandro won't, obviously. I think otherwise. Um, we're probably going to see, like Matty, we're probably going to be seeing Maguire come back, and I think Yoro might probably stay as a partnership. That's what I'm expecting. Oh, I just saw this. Okay, so maybe not ideal, but maybe we talk about this later on. If Maguire gets extra punishment and Man United aren't able to play him, that would be really annoying, wouldn't it? Like really annoying. But hopefully that's not the case. I don't know. We'll have to find out when we regarding that one. But guys, I'm gonna have to really head off now. It's been a really long stream, but again, I'm gonna be doing quite long streams as we kind of rebuild the channel back to where we want to be, as it was like 10K before, and we will be pushing on since we restarted. Thanks everybody for getting involved. It's the I said this a few times last time. One of the best communities on YouTube for Man United fans, and we will be doing a lot more content over like the next few days, and hopefully we'll be rebuilding rapidly. As always, if you're new to the channel, please check out the socials if you're on Facebook or you're on Discord. These are platforms like with Discord. It's pretty much 24/7. If you want to post any stories you see, it'll always help. Any sort of thing that drives into kind of things we can discuss. So ultimately, things we discuss will be things you want to talk about. So if you've got some opinions, like from anyone watching at all, any opinions on anything you want to talk about, all it has to be is that it just has to be in the news. Because at the moment, YouTube is like a big search engine. So as long as people are interested in it or people are talking about it, we'll cover it. But again, the thumbnail and the description is basically just to advertise that we're live. The main content, as everybody knows, the main content will be what you want to talk about. You get in the comments, you post your comments. We go through some questions and answers, and we do discuss things. I think people that's kind of how it's going to work. So again, and if there's not much news out there, we'll just be picking something at random, but we can still talk about the same things. And as I see in the comments, it'll be a lot about the Chelsea game coming up, players available, players suspended. It's annoying, isn't it? But there won't be loads of positive stuff in the short term. Hair pulling, we'll try and not talk about that anymore. I think we've covered that a lot. We probably won't be mentioning Gary Neville again for a long time, hopefully. That's way too much Gary Neville chat, I think, for one day. So big up to you guys. Appreciate everybody getting involved. Big up to you, Ron. Big up to you, Matty. And also big shout out to Minnie Wayne for getting involved for the first time as well today, and everybody else, all you legends. Join the Discord if you haven't done so. Is a great way of like at least keeping in contact with people and getting involved in the community. And we will see you guys in the next one. I'm guessing 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. ish, based on how soon I can set up a stream. But I will see you guys then, and with Helgi as well. Take it easy, guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one.